Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another day of finding hope through faith. My name is Daniel. We're in Numbers still, in the Old Testament, of course. We're in Numbers chapter 30, so we're moving quite right along, and we're getting to the end. So we're almost done with Numbers. So hopefully it's not so crazy and violent like the other, like it has been, and yeah. But this is wild. The stuff that's happening is wild. The amount of sacrifices that the Lord needs is numerous. But if you don't, you know what happens. It's like you do what he asks or else kind of thing, right? Okay. So we're going to move right along. All right, so Moses chapter 30. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's get to it. Moses gave the Israelites these instructions just as the Lord had ordered him. And now it's the instructions. It's a lot of sacrifice and very specific requirements. Very, very specific. There's no, I don't think there's any option. Ew, gross. Okay. No more glare. That's good. Anyway, Moses said to the heads of the Israelite tribes, "This is what the Lord has commanded. When a man makes a vow to the Lord or binds himself under the oath to a pledge of abstinence, he shall not violate his word, but must fulfill exactly the promise he has uttered." Which is, I understand why you would do that, right? When a woman, while still a maiden in her father's house, makes a vow to the Lord or binds herself to a pledge, if her father learns of her vow or the pledge to which she has bound herself and says nothing to her about it, then any vow or any pledge she has made remains valid. But if on the day he learns of it, her father expresses to her his disapproval, then any vow or any pledge she has made becomes null and void. So the father still, runs whatever unless he doesn't say anything, and then the Lord releases her from it, since her father has expressed to her his disapproval. If she marries while under a vow, under a rash pledge to which she had bound herself, and her husband learns of it, yet says nothing to her that day about it, then the vow or pledge she has made remains valid. But if on the day he learns of it, her husband expresses to her his disapproval, he thereby annuls the vow she made or the rash pledge to which she had bound herself, and the Lord releases her from it. Well, all right, I guess. It seems like every time females make a choice, they don't have the choice. Not really, unless they don't say nothing, right? Which is, it's wild to me. It's like husband or father. If they, well, no, I don't like that. Oh, okay, never mind then. It's like, did the females not have any autonomy to do whatever they needed to do with their own lives? It's so silly. I don't understand this. How the females, like, were they stupid back then? Like, I don't understand how they could just, people that have a penis get to decide. That doesn't make sense. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know, man. This is the part of the history in this religion that I can't. I just can't. Because it doesn't make sense. If everybody's made in God's image, then wouldn't it make sense that everybody has the same say-so about their own life? Just because you have a vagina means that you can't make any decisions. That's so stupid. I made a decision. No, you didn't. That's that's done. We're not going to think about that now. Stupid. All right, let's move on. If it is in her husband's house that she makes a vow or binds herself under the oath to a pledge, and her husband learns of it yet says nothing to express his disapproval, then any vow or any pledge that she has made remains valid. But if on the day he learns of them, her husband annuls them, then whatever she expressly promised in her vow or in her pledge becomes null and void. Since her husband has annulled them, the Lord releases her from them. Any vow or any pledge that she makes under oath to mortify herself, her husband can either allow to remain valid or render null and void. But if her husband, day after day, says nothing at all to her about them, he thereby allows as valid any vow or any pledge she has made. He has allowed them to remain valid, because on the day he learned of them, he said nothing to her about them. If, however, he countermands them sometime after he first learned them, he is responsible for her guilt. These are the statutes which the Lord prescribed through Moses concerning the relationship between a husband and his wife, as well as between a father and his daughter, while she is still a maiden in her father's house. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand at the same time. I mean, in the sense, it would be like the male is the head of the household, and like kind of whatever he say happens, right? But I still don't understand that. But whatever. Let's move on. Numbers chapter 31. This is what's in here. You don't have to agree with it. It's just here, right? The Lord said to Moses, "Avenge the Israelites on the Midianites, and then you shall be taken to your people." So Moses told the people, "Select men from your midst and arm them for war to attack the Midianites and execute the Lord's vengeance on them. From each of the tribes of Israel you shall send a band of 1,000 men to war. From the clans of Israel, therefore, 1,000 men of each tribe were levied, so that there were 12,000 men armed for war. Moses sent them out on the campaign, 1,000 from each tribe, with Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest for the campaign, who had with him the sacred vessels and the trumpets for sounding the alarm. They waged war against the Midianites, as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they killed every male among them. Beside those slain in battle, they killed the 5 Midianite kings, Evi, Rekem, Zur, and Hur, and Reba. And they also executed Balaam, son of Beor, with the sword. But the Israelites kept the women of the Midianites with their little ones as captives, and all their herds and flocks and wealth as spoil. While they set on fire all the towns where they had settled and all their encampments, they had took all the booty with the people and the beasts they had captured, and brought the captives together with the spoils and the booty to Moses and the priest Eleazar, and to the Israelite community at their camp on the plains of Moab, along the Jericho stretch of the Jordan. When Moses and the priest Eleazar, with all the princes of the community, went outside the camp to meet them, Moses became angry with the officers of the army, the clan and the company commanders, who were returning from combat. "So you have spared all the women," he exclaimed. Why are the very ones who on Balaam's advice prompted the unfaithfulness of the Israelites toward the Lord in the poor affair, which began the slaughter of the Lord's community? Slay, therefore, every male child and every woman who has had intercourse with a man, but you may spare and keep yourselves all girls who had no intercourse with a man. Moreover, you shall stay outside the camp for 7 days, and those of you who have slain anyone or touched anyone slain in battle shall purify yourselves on the 3rd and the 7th day. This applies both to you and to your captives. So, kill all the non-virgins, and you can just have the virgins. That's fine. You could just have them. Like, what? What? It's supposed to be peace and love and all that good stuff, right? Peace, love, understanding, and all that stuff. Now we're going to go to war and kill everybody. That sounds right. That sounds real good. Just go killing. Just kill. So if that's the case, what's stopping people, like, if that's the case, and it's okay to kill people, why is it not okay to kill people now? If it's okay to kill people then. I don't understand. You shall also purify every article of cloth, leather, goat's hair, or wood. Eleazar the priest told the soldiers who had returned from combat, "This is what the law as prescribed by the Lord to Moses ordains. Whatever you can stand fire, such as gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, and lead, you shall put into the fire, that it may become clean. However, it must also be purified with lustral water. But whatever cannot stand fire, you shall put into the water. On the seventh day you shall wash your clothes, and then you again will be clean. After that you may enter the camp." The Lord said to Moses, "With the help of the priest Eleazar and the heads of the ancestral houses, count up all the human captives and the beasts that have been taken. Then divide them evenly, giving half to those who took an active part in the war by going out to combat, and half to the rest of the community. You shall levy a tax for the Lord on the warriors who went out to combat. 1 out of every 500 persons, oxen, asses, and sheep, and their half of the spoil you shall turn over to the priest of Eleazar as a contribution to the Lord. From the Israelites, half you shall take, 1 out of every 50 persons, and the same from the different beasts, oxen, asses, and sheep, and give them to Moses. Give them to the Levites, who have charge of the Lord's dwelling." So Moses and the priest Eleazar did this, as the Lord had commanded Moses. This booty, which was left on the loot which was the soldiers had taken, amounted to 675,000 sheep, 72,000 oxen, 61,000 asses, and 32,000 girls who were still virgins. The half that fell to those who had gone out to combat was 337,500 sheep, of which 675 fell as a tax to the Lord. 36,000 oxen, for which 75 fell as tax to the Lord. 36,000 oxen, for which 72 fell as tax to the Lord. 30,500 asses, of which 61 fell as tax to the Lord, and 16,000 persons, of whom 32 fell as tax to the Lord. These taxes contributed to the Lord. Moses gave to the priest Eleazar, as the Lord had commanded him. The half for the other Israelites which fell to the community when Moses had taken it from the soldiers was 336,500 sheep, 36,000 oxen, 30,500 asses, and 16,000 persons. From this the Israelites' share, Moses, as the Lord had ordered, took 1 out of every 50, both of persons and of beasts, and gave them to the Levites, who had charge of the Lord's dwelling. When the officers who had been clan and company commanders of the army came up to Moses and said to him, "Your servants have counted up the soldiers under your command, and not one is missing. So to make atonement for ourselves before the Lord, each of us will bring an offering to the Lord, some gold article he has picked up, such as an anklet or a bracelet, a ring, an earring, or a necklace." Moses and the priest Eleazar accepted this gold from the men, all of it in well-wrought articles. The gold that they gave as contribution to the Lord amounted in all to 16,750 shekels. This was from the clan and the company commanders. What the common soldiers had looted, each one kept for himself. Moses then and the priest Eleazar accepted the gold from the clan and the company commanders and put it in the meeting tent as a memorial for the Israelites before Lord. Now, that being said, I don't know if there's a right or a wrong here, man. Like, if you don't follow what God says, he's going to kill you. Every time somebody goes against the Lord, they die. So it's either do what he says or die. So now you're going against people and killing them, or you can die. It's like there's no options. Every time it's like, oh, you didn't do what I asked? Okay, you're dead now. And he can just do whatever. Make the earth open up and swallow you. Just make you drop dead. Famine, pestilence. Or you can just do what he says and go and take this stuff. Is there a right or a wrong reason? It's like you do it or die, right? Which one would you rather do? I don't know about y'all, but if the Lord said it, and you could do what he says, and then when you die what he says, you can actually go, maybe go up to the kingdom and stand beside him. But this is wild, man. On to Numbers chapter 32. Now, for the Reubenites and the Gadites had a very large number of livestock, noticing that the land of Jazer and of Gilead was grazing country. They came to Moses and the priest Eleazar and to the princes of the community and said, the region of Ataroth, Dibon, Jazer, Nimrah, it's a bunch, which the Lord has laid low before the community of Israel, is grazing country. Now, since your servants have livestock, they continued, if we find favor with you, let this land be given to your servants as their property. Do not make us cross the Jordan. But Moses answered the Gadites and the Reubenites, are your kinsmen then to engage in war while you remain here? Why do you wish to discourage the Israelites from crossing to the land which the Lord has given to them? This is just what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh to reconnoiter the land. They went up to the Wadi and reconnoitered the land. Then so discouraged the Israelites that they would not enter the land that the Lord had given them. At the time, the wrath of God flared up, and he swore, because they have not followed me unservedly, none of these men of 20 years or more who have come from Egypt shall ever see the country I promised under oath of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, except the Kenzite Caleb, son of, I can't pronounce that, and Joshua, who have followed the Lord unservedly. So in his anger with the Israelites, the Lord made them wander in the desert 40 years until the whole generation that had done evil in the sight of the Lord had died out. And now, here you are, a brood of sinners, rising up in your father's place to add still more to the Lord's blazing wrath against the Israelites. If you turn away from following him, he will make them stay still longer in the desert, and so you will bring about the ruin of his whole nation. But they were insistent with him. We wish only to build sheepfolds here for our flocks and towns for our families. But we ourselves will march as troops in the van of the Israelites until we lead them to their destination. Meanwhile, our families can remain here in the fortified towns, safe from attack from the natives. We will not return to our homes until every one of the Israelites has taken possession of his heritage, and will not claim any heritage with them once we cross the Jordan, so long as we receive a heritage for ourselves on this eastern side of the Jordan. Moses said to them in reply, if you keep word to march as troops in the Lord's vanguard, and cross the Jordan in full force before the Lord until he has driven his enemies out of his way and the land is subdued before him, then you may return here, quit of every obligation to the Lord and to Israel, and this region shall be your possession before the Lord. But if you do not do this, you will sin against the Lord, and you can be sure that you will not escape the consequences of your sin. Build the towns, then, for your families, and the folds for your flocks, but also fulfill your express promise. The Gadites and the Reubenites answered Moses, Your servants will do as your command, my lord. While our wives and children, our herds and livestock remain in the towns of Gilead, all your servants will go across as armed troops to battle before the Lord, just as your lordship says. Moses therefore gave his order in their, regard, order of the ancestral tribes of the Israelites. Nope, that's wrong. Gave this order in their regard to the priest Eleazar, to Joshua, son of Nun, and to the heads of the ancestral tribes of the Israelites. If all the Gadites and the Reubenites cross the Jordan with you as combat troops before the Lord, you shall give them Gilead as their property when the Lord has been subdued before you, when the land has been subdued before you. But if they will not go across with you as livestock, as combat troops before the Lord, you shall bring their wives and children and livestock across before you in Canaan, and they shall have their property with you in the land. Okay. They have their property with you in the land of Canaan. Okay. To this, the Gadites and the Reubenites replied, we will do what the Lord has commanded us, your servants. We ourselves will go across into the land of Canaan as troops before the Lord, but we will retain our hereditary property on the side of the Jordan. So Moses gave them, the Gadites and the Reubenites, as well as half of the tribe of Manasseh, son of Joseph, the king of Shion. Okay. The land with its towns and its districts that surrounded them. The Gadites rebuilt and fortified these towns. Let's see. And they built sheepfolds. The Reubenites built Hezbon. Let's see, a bunch. These towns, which they rebuilt, they called by their old names. The descendants of Machir invaded Gilead and captured it, driving out the Amorites who were there. Moses gave Gilead to Machir, son of, Jair, a Manassite clan, campaigned against the tent villages, captured them, and then called them Havoth Jair. Noba also campaigned against, so here we go. I feel like, so it's okay to, in the Lord's name, it's okay to go and, based on this information, it's okay to go and kill things, kill people, and take virgins, even kill the wives of the girls and the sons, kill everybody, and just take their stuff. And then you're going to be right with the Lord. That seems kind of wild to me. I don't know. I feel like people should just be peaceful. And maybe it's just people are incapable. Some people are incapable of being peaceful. I don't know. But this is very violent. Very, very violent. Hopefully it gets better. Anyway, thanks for coming to see me, guys. I hope next time it gets a little bit better, but we'll figure it out. Thank you again. Have a good day.